start pumping. Oh, it reminds me of high school.
Wrenching it up, gonna wrench it up.
Welcome to Saturday's Wrench. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the wheels. I'm going to try and dismantle those. I bought some tire irons, so now I can take the tires off the rims and get the hubs despoked, and we'll get those cleaned up. I'm also going to work on the forks, the front forks. I have to dismantle those for a couple reasons, because I want to get the bottom forks nice and buffed up. So we're going to take the same process as I did with the aluminum engine covers. Going to do the same thing with the hubs. So I got to get those apart so I can clean them and make them all nice and shiny. And for the second reason, I also want to change the fork seals. You want to kind of do that after a little bit of time on the bike. I think it's a smart thing to do. Since I have the forks off the bike, I might as well change them. So I already bought some new fork seals, so we're going to be changing those. So for now, I'm going to be working on the front forks, getting the oil out of the tubes, and just basically getting them apart. Do me a favor and try not to be too jealous of my awesome toque right now. It's cold as hell in here, so it's been a cold week up in Toronto, Canada. Got to bundle up in the garage. Got this nifty apron for Christmas, so no more dirty white shirts. So thanks for that. All right, on to the forks. Moving on with the front forks, you want to make sure before you take this off the bike that you crack this this bolt right here. This is pretty tough to do if you don't have vise, but when it's on the bike, it's nice and firm, so you can crack this nut right here, or this bolt right here. I unfortunately forgot to do it, and then I had to spend about half an hour with a vise on the bench trying to get it off. But any recommendation before you take them off? Loosen this top bolt here just a little bit, just to crack it, to get it nice and loose. The next thing you want to do is loosen this 6mm Allen bolt here. Don't loosen it too much, but you definitely want to get it loose. And the best way to get that done, and thank you Del Boy's Garage for your awesome video on forks. The best way to get that done is in a vise. Here you want to secure this obviously with a shop rag. You don't want to scratch up your beautiful forks that you're going to make all nice and shiny. I have my 6mm Allen key here, and basically you want to make sure that's seated really well inside the bolt here. What you want to do is hold it as firmly as possible, get this in there as tight as you can, and like give it one nice tug down. So you want one nice fast tug, and basically that's good. So I know that bolt is nice and loose, so then I can move on with getting the rest of the forks apart. The next thing I'm going to do is remove this 10mm drain bolt here. That's going to allow me to get all the oil out of the fork. I'm just going to use this container here just so I have it flat against the bench, so I have something to press onto, because you're going to want to pump it a bit. So just loosen the bolt and tip it up and start pumping. Oh, had a little accident. You can see all the oil coming out there. You probably want to be a little more careful than I was, but that's alright. So just going to compress it a few times. Be a little more careful than last time. So the next step with the forks is you got to get this dust cap off. My forks here, I have a little section where you could see right there. I don't know if you could see that, but it kind of divots in a little bit. So a good way to get a screwdriver in there. My stanchions are pretty pretty gnarly. I don't think there's any saving that at all. So I might have to source new ones. I'm doing some research right now. I found a few vendors. They are pretty expensive. They're about 300 bucks a pair. They're also about 300 bucks to re-chrome. Really, there's no real way to save this without re-chroming it. Like, it is pretty pitted. I've looked at some options online. That's just, there's some polishes and sort of that sort of stuff, but you can rub it with aluminum foil and water. I might try and do that. I don't think it's going to be a long-term fix though. These are pretty gnarly, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to replace these stanchions. So that being said, I'm not too worried about scratching them when I take these dust seals off. So I'm just going to use my screwdriver and get it in under here and pop it up. You can see how easy that came off. So that's not too bad at all. So you want to remove these dust seals. Another thing, I just kind of made a mistake there, is sliding these dust seals up over this pitted chrome. And I probably damaged the dust seal now. It's not a huge deal. You want to just be careful if you're just checking your forks, or if you're just checking your forks, your seals or whatever, and you're lifting them over here. You want to be careful not to slide anything over this pitted chrome here, because it could really damage your seals. Okay, so I had to get my dad to help me with the circlip here. You basically want to squeeze it together and then pry it out with a dull screwdriver would be good. A dull flathead would be nice, but we just kind of squeezed this circlip together, and see this circlip here. Basically just squeezed it together and got a screwdriver under there. Sorry I didn't get that on camera, but they are a little difficult to get it out, but you gotta squeeze it and get a screwdriver under that. I had to get my dad to help me there. Moving on, we'll get the circlips off, and now that I can work on the forks here. The next step is I'm gonna remove this bolt here. You want to be careful getting that off, because there is a spring under compression here, so it might pop off. So we'll get it as loose as we can, and then I'll cover it with a rag and get it the rest of the way. I don't think it'll pop off too bad. This shouldn't, but just in case, I don't want to get hurt snapping my head here. So there we go. So I loosen it, so no pop at all. And you can see how this assembly works. Got more oil coming out of the bottom here. Just gonna get that container. Good thing I put some rags down. So now that the stanchion is not under pressure, some more oil is coming out here. So I'm just gonna give it a couple squeezes, and then our next step will be to loosen the bolt at the bottom here, and then we can get we can remove that fork assembly. I'm just removing this bottom bolt here, as you can see. Definitely want to be holding on to this. Moving on with the fork, we got the bolt off of the bottom, so this should just slide right out here. And we'll just squeeze that through. A little more oil coming out. That's okay, I'll just leave these upside down for now. I'm going to put this upside down, let it drain out a little bit. Put that bolt over here. Still some nasty stuff going on with that. Probably some thread lock, actually. That's probably what that was. Want to make sure you keep your dust covers and your circlips. We're going to be needing those. The seals inside here, won't be needing those anymore. I'm going to be replacing those guys, so don't worry about that too much. Yeah. Jam. Well, there's one. We'll sit this in the degreaser and clean it up a bit. Try and get all that stuff on the bottom cleaned up. For the forks here, this part is supposed to be coming free from this bar here. Now I don't know why this is stuck. It looks like whoever put this together last used some kind of thread lock in there. It does look glued or whatever. Now I'm not sure why, but I can't seem to get this little cap off, and that's because that's blocking me from getting this spring out. And I really want to get this spring out because I want to measure it and see if it's bent or compressed too much, to see if I have to replace it. So I have no idea why these are stuck on here. If you know why or know how to get these apart, please comment. I'm gonna move on with the wheels next and try and get the tires off the rims so I can get the hubs despoked and have them as a single unit like this, so I could take this and start cleaning it off. Back to the tires here and the rims. I got me a nice pair of tire irons. These are the small ones. I bought these because they're good for going to travel with, so you never know, so I thought these would come in the most handy. So you want to make sure that you break the seal by moving around the tire, and then just sneak in there. Yes. Yes. And you want to make sure you don't go too far, just enough you can get it out. And see, that's starting to come out here. Just to get the air valve through, you have to just loosen this bolt. It's a 12 millimeter, so just slide that off. And it friggin' stinks. So what I've done here is gone and worked my way around this tire, this rim here, just to get all these nipples out. Just working on my nipples. There we go. There you go. Now you can see. Now you can see the hub and the spokes here. And I'll just go through the hub here and remove all these spokes so we can get these cleaned up, and I'll save these spokes for someone who might want to buy them. You never know, right? They're still good spokes. They're original stock. People are into them, so maybe clean them up, degrease them, and try and sell them. I'm going to move on with getting the spokes off this hub, and then I'll be right back. So there you have it. I have the hub. I'm ready to clean this off, get this nice and shiny. I'm looking forward to getting this all nice and clean. I got to get these bearings out. Yeah, looking forward to getting this sanded down and looking good. So there you go, they're all out, and move on with the front wheel. You're gonna find that the same tabs exist that were on the back tire, the same locking mechanism that kind of hugs the bolts here. So I'm just gonna get my little screwdriver in there with a mallet and start removing those. So I've gotten my safety locks off, I got my bolts off, and now I can just lift this rotor right off here. And the way that this rotor works, so there are a bunch of bolts on this side. You could see that they came out here. So they are connected to this mechanism over here. Not exactly sure how to take this whole thing off. Not sure if it just pops out or what, but I don't honestly know how to get this off. And that's the tack cable, or the speedo cable. I don't know how to get that off, so let's go look at the manual for that. But I'm just gonna work on getting the tire off for now and worry about that cable later. So I'll just work from this side. I've already gone ahead and let all the air out, as much air out as I can from this tire here. So just gonna do the same thing with the tire irons and get this wheel off. So after I get it off, I'll be back. So we got this hub nice and despoked now. I can take it home and do some scrubbing, do some cleaning on it, sand it down, and get it cleaned up for reassembly with the new rims and new tires. God, I know you're so jealous of my cool hat. Anyways, we did some good work today. We got the got these forks dismantled, and then we got the hubs out of the rims there. That was a hell of a job. Just be patient and do your best with those if you're ever trying it. So now I can move on with getting the hubs all cleaned up. I'm gonna sand those down. I bought some new buffing compound, so we're gonna do 3 stages of the buffing process: a black, brown, and white compound with a harsher wheel, and then more of a softer wheel just to polish them up. I have been sanding down all my parts. They're still in the process of being sanded. It does take a lot of time, but they're starting to shine up pretty nicely. You know, you got to be a little bit meticulous and sand out some of the scratches and stuff from the parts, from the engine covers and stuff like that. So I'm going to do the same treatment to the hubs and the front forks, and we'll get those nice and shiny. So now that I have that all disassembled, I can start moving on with that. So that'll be the next phase of my project. After we get the parts all nice and shiny, my next thing will be to lace up those new rims. I got some new rims from Buchanan's in California, so I got to lace those up, and then get those all get the new tires on the rims, and then we got to work on the getting the frame powder coated, welding a battery box, and a loop on the back seat. So that'll be next in the phase of the project. It's coming along pretty good, and got some good work done today. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope these videos are helping you out. I hope you know, I'm not a pro or anything, and I never said I was a bike builder, but I'm having fun, and I'm just customizing my own motorcycle here, and you know, so hopefully these videos have been helping you guys out, and just if anything, just to see how certain parts of the bike come together or come apart, if anything. So if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe. It really helps a lot. It helps the channel a lot, and I really appreciate that. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your help, everyone in the forums, and all my friends who have been giving me lots of advice. Cheers for that, and stay tuned, because I've still got a lot more to do with the bike. Alright? Thanks for watching.
Wrenching it up, gonna wrench it up. Yeah. Wrenchity roo, wrench, roo.